ground team and the crew that's outside execute that procedure and then get back in safely. And that's exactly what we did. We recognized a potential hazard, and about 20 minutes later we were back inside the airlock, the only damage being that we had to cut the spacewalk a little bit short. So one more thing I wanted to mention that is probably the most memorable from the flight, in addition to the photographs you're seeing here, is the landing in a Soyuz. And we mentioned that there's going to be future systems and we'll employ advanced technology, but I have tremendous respect for the little Soyuz spacecraft in which we land because it is a very, very robust system. And typical of a lot of Russian engineering, it's just good enough, which is okay. As long as you survive, that's the main thing. We're inside in our little space capsule, which we simulated right here, is a seat liner, and each seat liner exactly matches the form of each crew member. And the reason it exactly matches you is because about a year and a half before flight, you sit in this big metal bathtub wearing long underwear. Someone brings a big plastic tub of plaster, they pour it around you, it firms up, you hop out, a guy takes a putty knife and he scratches off all the hot spots, and they put a piece of cloth over it, and that becomes your seat liner. And why is that? Because when you land, and you land so hard that you spend a few seconds just making sure nothing's broken, you evenly distribute the load so that there's no damage and everything works out fine. So even if you have a rough ride coming home and in a very, very hard landing, you still come back and you're able to get home within a day and greet your family back in Houston, Texas. So I mentioned that it's a large team, and it is a tremendously large team and a professional and competent team as well. But I think the most important team for me personally, and the best part of the team is my family that helps make human spaceflight possible, because it's a very rigorous time, both getting ready for spaceflight and then while you're on space station. And to have the family support that we all have, and especially me, makes it that much better in the ability to share that experience. And so I wanted to ask my wife to say a few words about her experience with human spaceflight.
Well, first, I'm honored to be on this panel with a distinguished scientist. I'm going to bring it back down to earth, though, and just talk about what it's like to have a family member in spaceflight. There's an expression you may have heard about the NASA family, and it really is that. When I have a concern about Tim's safety, he mentioned launches, landings, and spacewalks. Those are the most anxious times. Because I know the people that trained him, I know the people on the Flight Control Center, the people that are working